Assalamu alaikum. I'm Farid Pathan from New Jersey, the United States of America. And today's topic is Seven Sisters of India and Present Concepts. Now on, we hear some information that the Seven Sisters are unrest. The people of Seven Sisters, they are looking for their independence. And also the Indian government and the government of India, they are trying to diminish all the movement which is going on in Manipur, Mizoram, and Assam, and also in
Ar-
Meghalayas.
Arunachal.
Uh, Today, our guest is Farhad Ahmed and Iftikhar
Farhad
Ahmed.
Hussain. Farhad
Yeah,
Hussain.
sorry, excuse me, Farhad Hussain, and the professor of Break University. And our guest is Iftikhar Azim. He's from Dhaka, and I'm from United States. So we will discuss about the present situation and the some political discussion in our talk show today. I will first introduce Farhad Hussain and let him have his first statement about what's going on in Seven Sisters. We hear a lot of information that the present government of India, they are trying to move some military. We see the military movements in there, and they are trying to have some issues in Chicken Neck as well. Uh, since 5th August, Dr. Yunus took over, on 8th August, Dr. Yunus took over the present government of Bangladesh, and now the this region become very volatile. Would you please, Farhad Bhai, please explain what is going on in that region?
Thank you, Farid Bhai. It's a great privilege for me that you have invited me in your particular distinguished show in English and global language. I think that you have an objective exactly to convey the message of us to the world, exactly about the politics of South Asia, and particularly as you have exactly selected the topics for today, that the condition of the northeastern states of India. You know that I'd like to take you back to the history. That is very, very important. You know that Seven Sisters, and particularly, I would like to mention the Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Arunachal. These are not exactly the part and parcel of Indian Union territory during the Mughal period, at the last part of the Mughal period. And now question is usually arised how these states have become the union territory of India. This is a very important. You know that. You know that. Hello, hello.
Hello, yes, we
Yeah, we
can
can
hear
hear.
loud and clear.
Oh, there is a phone, and the that sound has been declined.
Hmm. Would you you can reconnect it? You can take it off and then come back again.
Yes, I'd like to take it back.
Okay, okay, please. And now we'll get him back again. Mr. Iftikhar Azim,
Yeah.
what do you think about the princely state that was in Seven Sisters in 1947, before 1947? After 1947, I see Farhad Bhai came back.
Mhm.
So
Can, can you hear me?
yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
yeah, yeah.
him loud and clear.
Yeah.
After the British Raj came to India and took over the administration or the ruling of India, you know that the British Raj in India, that could feel one thing, that they should have the security, particularly from from Japan and China, because the British Raj used to know that Japan is an imperial nation and China is a great nation. And that is why it was the concern of the British colonial power in India, in order to create a defensive measure against China and Japan. And that is why it was exactly the sincere and very formidable endeavor and measure exactly to include this particular seven sisters, especially uh, Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura, and Arunachal,
I
exactly
believe
to
in the
include
1942.
it to the Union territory, so that the British Raj could exactly create a certain kind of defensive measure territorially against Japan and China. And it is the rough history exactly behind the inclusion of the three major states, northeastern states of India to the Union territory. It is exactly because of the capacity of the British Raj, because British imperial power was formidable and very strong, and they had every capacity exactly to include these states to the Union territory of India. Other thing is that in order to create a formidable position of the British Raj in India, particularly in those states, they exactly invited Christian missionary in those states, and they set up this. And
Farhad
that
bhai,
is why you will
Farhad, I
find,
have a question. Farhad bhai, I have a question. Isn't it
yes,
Japan took over the Mizoram and Yangon and
Arunachal.
Arakan in 1942, and then right after 1942, British took over in 1945, isn't it?
Yeah, it is during Second World War, but
Right.
I am talking about the initial stage of the British rule in India.
Oh, okay.
The British colonial power had in mind exactly to include those states to the Union territory of India, because the British, the British colonial power was very much farsighted. They could feel that those states should be included as soon as possible to the Union territory of India for creating defensive measure against China and Japan.
Oh, okay.
And it was so happened, but you have to know this: these states have got the particular separate identity, a separate identity in religion, separate identity in that language, history, culture, and even in physical structure. The people of those states do not have any sort of particular similarity with the people of India.
The other
What do,
state.
what do you mean by India? Does not exactly have got any sort of similarity in physical exactly appearance, and the British government adopted a kind of policy of conversion into Christianity. What is this? They invited the Christian missionaries in those states. They set up Christian missionaries, and the Christian missionaries had been trying to attract the local people, and the local people having the facilities of food, lodge, and other rights of education, having food and other facilities. They started exactly. They started themselves being converted into Christianity. And that is why you will find a sizable number of Christian people in Mizoram, in Manipur, and in Arunachal. You know and this is the history of the inclusion of those seven states, to the Union territory of India. But one thing that should be noted here, that the people of those states could not forget the separate identity in respect of religion, in respect of their history, culture, heritage, language, and everything. And that is why insurgency is a common picture.
Farhad bhai,
Insurgency
I have a question.
is a common sentiment of the people there.
Farhad bhai, I have a question to you.
Yes.
Isn't it Mr. Radcliffe, when he drew the East Bengal, and West Bengal, and the East Pakistan and West and India, at that time he based on religion, isn't it? That was the religion, based on the religion survey. He drew that line, the East Pakistan territory. But the Seven Sisters, the majority people being practicing Christianity, why he decided to put that Seven Sisters to Indian territorial part?
Sir, you have to remember one thing, that the three major boundary lines are disputed. because these lines had been erected by the colonial power in India. One is the Durand Line, which exactly separated Afghanistan from Hindustan. Another is, that McMahon Line, the line between China and in Hindustan, India, and the Radcliffe Line, which exactly demarcated exactly Pakistan from India. You know, these three lines are disputing line. You know that McMahon Line has not been accepted by exactly China because of the disputing issue of Tibet, and Durand Line has not been accepted by Afghanistan because Afghanistan demands, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, because there is a strong similarity of language, history, and heritage between the people, Afghan people, and the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakhtunistan. And these three major boundary lines have been disputed that had been erected by the British Raj. The British Raj has got a particular legacy of sentiment to create a certain kind of conflict. When they were exactly living India, they tried to exactly create some issues which will be a conflicting issue and which is being continued these as the conflicting issues between the countries like China, India, and Pakistan, and even in Bangladesh. I would like to say one thing, that the border between India and Bangladesh, particularly in the eastern frontier, that the station, Kasba station, Kasba is a Upazila, you know, which I belong to, you know,
Mhm.
and railway
Was it a
station.
part of? Wasn't
Yes,
it? Wasn't it a part of the Tripura?
yes. Once upon a time, Kumilla belonged to the Tripura kingdom under the princely state, Tripura princely state.
Right.
And our last king was Maharaja Sir Hari Singh. Hari Singh was the last executive king of Tripura. Very ridiculous matter. Exactly, I'd like to relate my experience, ridiculous experience. What happened exactly due to the border line erected by Sir Cyril Ratcliffe, the then chairman of the Border Commission, when he was demarcating India and Pakistan. I'd like to say that the rail station of Kasba had been included to the Indian territory in the first phase of the erection of the border by Sir Cyril Ratcliffe, but the rail line had been demarcated to the territory of Did East Pakistan. It was quite ridiculous, and Maharaja Sahari Singh was still the executive king during the time. The report had gone to him, and he was found very shocked. He exactly took a paper and wrote a note to the chairman of the Boundary Commission, Sir Cyril Ratcliffe. Comilla Comilla is my
A part of
territory
Tripura.
of my kingdom, but you have erected the border in a very unscientific way. I don't like to shock my subjects, my people. It is unfortunate that India had been divided, and I have to watch it. But I would like to, as an executive king still today, I'd like to give you a note. I'd like to exactly advocate rail station building, the building of the station master to the territory of East Pakistan. It is my desire. I don't like to make my people shocked. And then the border was revisited and revised, and the building, station master's building, had been included to the territory of Didanish Pakistan. It is a ridiculous matter, you know that, and you can feel in this short instance that the erection of the border by the boundary commission was not scientific at all. It is conflicting. It is exactly a matter of debate and controversial.
It wasn't it based on religion? They marked that.
It was the slogan of religion when Pakistan was being created.
Mhm.
But when Mr. Jinnah delivered his speech, first speech as the first Governor General of Pakistan, he exactly made it clear through his speech that Pakistan would be a state for the sweet home of every people having the religion, separate religious identity. Pakistan must be the state or sweet home for Sikhs, for Muslims, for Buddhists, for Hindus, for for every people, irrespective of religions. It does not matter. It was his
My,
first delivering speech in the Pakistan Gana Parishad.
my
He had
question
made
was
it clear.
my question was for Farhad Bhai. If that was so, then the Seven Sisters, the majority people being Christian, how the Seven Sisters
In
become part
Mizoram,
of India?
I'd like to interrupt you. In Mizoram, majority people are Christians, and you know that you will be surprised to know there are some sizable number of people are Jews.
Yes,
They have got a strong connection with Tel Aviv,
right, right.
and they are frequently visiting there.
So how it become the part of India then?
Once upon a time, a Jewish monk exactly came, as far I came to know, in Mizoram, and started converting the people into Zionism, into not Zionism,
Judaism, Judaism,
in
Judaism.
Judaism. Yes, thank you very much. In Judaism, and that is why a sizable number of people you'll get belong to, that Judaism in Mizoram, and they have got a very strong connection with Tel Aviv, Israeli state, in Middle
Wasn't
East.
it? Israel? They took some people in 2008 or 2007.
Yes.
They had some people took from Mizoram to Israel.
Not only
They
that, from
migrated.
Pakistan also. From Pakistan also,
Oh,
there are
okay.
a number of people following Judaism in Karachi,
Oh, okay.
and several families have already took the settlement in Tel Aviv,
Mhm,
migrated from Karachi to the Israeli state in Middle East.
mhm. Okay. And my question was, Murad Bhai, if that was so, the majority of people they've been practicing Christianity and Judaism, then why it become the part of India? My question was that.
India had adopted the constitution in 1950. You know that it is the republic life. And before 1950, before the adaptation of the constitution, India was not a republic. India was a dominion, being controlled by the British Crown. The British Crown exactly continued. He's a Governor General in India. But after the adoption of the constitution, you know, Raja Gopalacharya became the first Governor General, Indian Governor General. And after the adaptation, the constitution in 1950, you know that Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first president, and declaring that India must be the state for the people of every religion. He might be Hindu, or Sanatan religion, people of Sanatan, he might be Muslim, Christian, Jain, Sikhs, and whatever it is, does not
Mhm,
matter. It was the
mhm.
constitutional approach of India, you know, and that is why the erection of the border does not mean anything. It is a secular state, but the secular nature of India has been declined day after day because of the so many episodes have been created. The demolition of, that Babri Mosque cannot be accepted by the Muslim community, not only in Hindustan or India, but also all over the world. It is a historic mosque. The demolition of the mosque does not create any sort of sign of the secular attitude of the governing political party or the people who are running the governance of India. I'd like to make
Is,
it clear.
is the same issue about the Kashmir?
Kashmir is a very sensitive issue. I'd like to request you today exactly to arrange another talk show over Kashmir because I have got a particular information. I'd like to focus it over Kashmir through your talk show in English because I'd like to convey the message to the world community. And that is why I'd like to give you credit and I'd like to felicitate felicitate you that you have exactly taken the major a step to open a channel and inviting the guests to deliver their speech in global language. And I think that Kashmir is a very important issue where the plebiscite is going on every day. I would like to quote a particular a comment from Rajmohan Gandhi, who is the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, Bapuji of India. His grandson Rajmohan Gandhi made a statement to Mushahidul Islam, who was the information minister of Pakistan. In private discussion, he disclosed, Rajmohan Gandhi disclosed the fact to Mushahidul Islam, the former information minister of Pakistan in Pervez Musharraf government, that plebiscite is going on every day in Kashmir through the devastation and movement of the Kashmir, when you know that 370 article has been wiped out by the central government of India.
Oh, okay. Now, you think that was the majority of Kashmir? The people of Kashmir, like 80, 90%, they've been a Muslim, but Maharaja was in a Hindu religion.
86%, once upon a time it was 86%. The
And
fact is very ridiculous, you
the,
know.
they had the
Very
India had
interesting
a
fact is that there are so many interesting cases happened
India had
in
a
the
treaty.
case of the princely states.
India had a
Princely,
treaty with India had a treaty with the Kashmir, that the people of Kashmir, that 370 they had amendments
I'd like to,
370.
I'd like to, I'd like to exactly, I'd like to have a show, particular
Uh,
separate show on Kashmir.
oh,
And
okay.
if you give me the privilege, I'd like to request you to confine our talk show today over Seven Sisters,
Okay, we will
particularly
talk about
the
the Kashmir
northeastern
another
border,
day.
the northeastern border of India. You know that India is in a very vulnerable position because you know that China is a very great opponent of India. And I'd like to inform you one thing, that 2,100 borderline that is been declared as LAC, line of actual control, between China and India, which definitely this long borderline is a serious disputing issue between China and India. And India had to face a very catastrophic experience in 1962 due to the Sino-Indian War. You know that Indian troops exactly had to face a very disastrous experience when the Chinese troops exactly made a fierce attack on Indian troops along the border line. And you know that
May I
the
take a
defense
couple
minister.
minutes? May I take a couple minutes from you? If I ask Mr. Iftikhar Azim, what do you think about the Arunachal Pradesh? That Arunachal still now, the China is claiming is a part of China. What do you think
Yeah.
about
Mm.
the China military might and Indian military might? Who is going to take over that Arunachal?
Yeah, very interesting question. And I was about to come to the topic. Out of seven sisters, Arunachal, I think one of the biggest
Territorial
state over
area.
there. Hmm. And China's concentration is mostly on Arunachal. Isn't it surprising? They are always concentrating on Arunachal and moving slowly inside to their territory. But what is the religion over there? Doesn't matter.
Mostly Christian and Buddhist.
Mostly Christian, Buddhists are very much more. So now we have seen from our war with two countries that religion has nothing to do with culture and other things, as you can see in the Arab world also. Arunachal, lot of places has been taken over by China, and they are moving. But why India is not doing anything or can't do anything? The topic is that what we are discussing, the geographical space over there. It is not very easy to make an operation over there for Indian Army or Indian Air Force. Indian Army, it's forget it, they can't enter over there. And there is also a state called Nagaland. Are you aware of that? Very much, obviously. And the Nagas are very dangerous soldiers. Arunachal, I think, I don't know, it's my assumption.
There are some
Guru
treaty
here.
between India and China that no one, both the country, they can fight each other, but without the firearms.
That's why they use the stick and the nail.
A stick and a nail, right? Right.
That is it. So how long this stick and nail firing will go on?
So
Strategy changes. So
if I ask Farad, by what do you think about the Arunachal that right now the current situation is in
Let me clarify one thing. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. It's a very important question. And
Mm.
I think that there is a beautiful narrative exactly given by our Mitubai on this particular issue. So I'd like to take you back to the context that India had to face the catastrophic experience in 1962 due to Sino-Indian war between China and India. And Defense Minister Krishna Menon even was not prepared to face this sort of attack during the time. And you know that within a very shortest possible time, we had found the Chinese troops installed in Arunachal, and Indian troops could not face the Chinese troops during the time. And you know that Jawaharlal Nehru was the prime minister during the time, and it was the last part of his prime ministership was going on, and even he could not feel the necessity of calling the Indian Air Force to strike over the Chinese troops exactly located Chinese troops installed or gathered in Arunachal. Why? Nehru was a very stalwart intellectual and man of sagacity and wisdom. He could exactly envisage one thing very clearly that if you'd call the Indian Air Force to strike over Chinese troops on Arunachal, you know that the war will be expanded
Mhm.
and which will be which will go beyond the control of the Indian government. And you know that during the time John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States of America, and he assured Jawaharlal Nehru to assist by giving the support of Air Force. But Nehru did not agree. He did not want to see the expansion of the war in Asian region because he was a strong believer in Panchshila and non-aligned movement. And that is why he wanted to exactly short the war, cut short and finding no other alternative, even he had gone to the Dargah of Khaza Mainuddin Chishti, you know, the Sultan ul Hind. Nehru visited this mazar exactly and prayed, "O Khaza Baba, please save your India. Please save your India." Very amazing matter is that. Surprising that whenever, just after praying to the Darbar of Khaza Baba, even before he left Ajmer Sharif, you know that he got a call from his Prime Minister's office. He got through wireless that China had declared unilateral ceasefire. And
Uh,
before that, Chuan Lai, the premier of China, exactly declared that he would exactly cover Delhi, the capital city of India, Delhi, by his air force. It was a serious apprehension for Nehru. Nehru used to know the military strength and the strength of the air force of China. And he used to know that India was not in a position to face China at all in any military capacity. And that is why exactly he had given a wise decision exactly to close the war against China. But
Brahmaputra.
Arunachal. But thing is that I'd like to clarify it. Hassan Ansari, so Hamid Ansari was the vice president of India. He visited during his when he was the
Yeah.
vice president he visited Beijing. There was a map submitted before he attended the Panchshila seminar, a conference day in Beijing. The Chinese government produced a map including Arunachal, exactly in the territory of China,
So
which
that
is exact
now
with.
still now what we see in a Google map, that still that Arunachal is in a mark red, and they say conflict between Indian military and the Indian military and the Chinese military. They are sometime they got claim their own as their own territory, like in a part of China, and India claim it's a part of India.
I think that Indian.
Ladakh, Ladakh, what we have seen in the last 3 4 years ago, when the Ladakh was when the conflict was going on in Ladakh, Indian military and Chinese military, we saw some people got military of India got killed. But we didn't see that much movement in Arunachal. Do you see
But
any?
interesting matter is that India should exactly revise her policy of maintaining the borders exactly to maintain the border, particularly with Bangladesh, India, and China. Between Bangladesh, India, between India and Pakistan, between India and China. Why? You will find the discriminating treatment of India to the borderline. The
Right.
BSF's treatment, particularly in the borderline between India and Bangladesh, is not healthy at all, is not tranquil at all. Similar attitude the border security forces of India cannot show in the borderline between India and Pakistan, between India and China. But that rough attitude we are getting exactly from the border security forces of India. Not only that, it is true and fact the common innocent people of Bangladesh living in the borderline are being killed recklessly by the reckless fire of the Indian border security
But that
forces.
didn't
That is
happen in
BSF.
Chinese border.
Yes, I would like to tell you one thing that I delivered a speech in Calcutta and Fort William Auditorium that it is not the notion and indication of the friendship or good gesture of friendship between the two countries like India and Bangladesh. The border security forces, the BSF, is treating very roughly along the border between India and Bangladesh. It should not be accepted by the people of Bangladesh. But similar treatment we do not find in the border between India and China, between even India and Pakistan, because India always is aware of the consequence what might happen if they show the similar treatment to the border of exactly in the border of China, in the border of Pakistan. But we are getting a very rough treatment. I think that the geopolitical scenario is being changed day by day because of the several episodes are being raised every day. I think that the time has come for India exactly to revisit and revise the border policy, particularly between India and Bangladesh.
Uh, can we do the same treaty like Chinese and Indian what they did in the past in 1996? I believe that nobody can open a fire on a they cannot use a firearms. Why
But
not? We can
but
make
it
the
has
same
not been
treaty
continued.
with
Even
India.
after 1996, fire had been exchanged between the troops of China and India. But recently, there is an agreement exactly whether it has been signed or not, I don't know. Agreement exactly has been known to us that there is a disengagement of agreement of disengagement of troops in the border in a very, very rough and aggressive way.
Two
The
days
China,
ago,
India could realize that it is a vain effort from the part of India exactly to continue the conflicting situation with China.
2 days ago, there was in our border, one Bangladeshi people got shot and killed.
Yes, 2 days ago you know that in Panchgod border, a
Right.
Bangladeshi had been killed exactly by the fire of BSF. It is always a reckless firing, you know. Why should the Bangladeshi BJB, Border Guard Force of Bangladesh, haven't fired upon the border security forces of India
Sometimes
until and unless, let me clear, until and unless we have been fired upon, why should we fire? We do not fire. We heard it from the first, exactly the day after tomorrow, yesterday, that an innocent Bengali had been killed by the reckless fire of the BSF in the Panchgod border. This is not the friendly gesture between the two
unfortunate.
neighboring countries. I know. And that is why I'd like to give stress on exactly revisiting and revise of the border policy of India. It should be done as soon as possible by Indian apex level authority.
With our show, I would request to Dr. Yunus government so they would take care of these issues and make a treaty with Indian government. Make sure these border guard they won't get fire. They can arrest people. They cannot have authority to kill, right?
Yes, exactly. It should be. It should be. They can arrest the people. And I'd like to, Farid, I'd like to relate one thing, my experience. The people, because my hometown is adjacent to the Indian border, almost
Right.
adjacent to not more than 3 or 4 kilometers,
I'm
because I've been experienced with the border management of Didanish, Pakistan, and now presently Bangladesh and India. You know that people living in the borderline are not educated properly. What is the reason behind this? They are quite ignorant about the policy and principles of the border management. Out of ignorance, they are crossing the border for a silly matter, but they have been recklessly killed by the reckless firing from the Indian side. It should not be. It should not be. I think it should not. I want to exactly. Once again, I'd like to. I had an opportunity exactly to share my experience of the rough management of the border by the BSF exactly to the then High Commissioner of India in Dhaka, Harshvardhan Shringla. I exactly raised this matter to him in Dhaka Club. He assured me. But this gentleman had taken some measure, and one or more than 1 year, there was something. I have seen the declining of the killing along the borderline. But after 2 years, that the situation exactly had gone to the same position, the previous position.
All
We had
right.
found the irresponsible behavior of the border security forces once again to kill the innocent people along the border.
Hmm. So, do you think that the Indian government is aware, the central government is aware, or just what we see in the border?
Everything,
And
yes, everything is being reported to the Chanakapuri, the South Bloc, and the Home Ministry.
so Amit Shah knows about it.
Yes, they should have the sincerity and compulsion exactly to ensure the tranquil border management between the two neighboring countries, like India and Bangladesh. Why they are not taking this step?
Okay.
I'm sorry that I
It
have
is,
raised my
it
voice
is
because I have
unfortunate.
been badly experienced from since my childhood. Since I am the border man, I am the frontier man.
I'm from Sunamganj. Our Sunamganj border is also with the Meghalaya's, and I know there are some people. When I've been visiting the border area, I saw some patrol from BSF side, but I didn't see that many people is from Bangladesh, Bangladesh area, Bangladesh side. So, do you think it's a short of our military presence makes that kind of operation, or our foreign policy would be more strong between India and Bangladesh?
Now, one thing that is very military deployment is not the solution. The solution of the conflicting situation going on in the borderline should be negotiated through diplomatic discussion,
Between the two
concrete
governments?
diplomatic discussion. Sir, I'd like to tell you one thing. Bangladesh is a country of 18 crore people. Our demography is not weak. Our democracy is as strong as any other country of the world. So no country should bully us. They should exactly remember one thing. We are the country of 18 crore people. No country should bully us.
All
One
right.
question to Farad Bhai. Can I be allowed to?
I'd like to make it clear.
Would you please? Would you please?
Okay.
If you don't mind?
Yes. What is happening with this? Few days ago, that gentleman died. Our BGP person by BSF. We are 18 crore people. It's a quite formidable force. If you train them like Syria and others, but we are very united when it comes to second force, as I told for Pathan Bhai one time. Now, what is happening before was happening. Now the new regime has come. They have taken over. People has their faith on their heart. They're getting vocal. Now, what happened if tomorrow one BSF guard is killed? My question to Farad Bhai.
Yes, yes, yes.
What
Once
happened?
again.
What happened if tomorrow one BSF or two BSF guard is killed? Simple example from my in-laws places
Once,
from
once upon a time in Romari area, once
yeah
upon a
yeah
time
yeah
in
yeah
Romari area, a number of
yeah
BSF had been killed. And
yes, we
I'd
are
like to
aware of
make it
that.
clear, General Fazlur Rahman, Major General
Yeah,
Fazlur Rahman was the Director
yes
General of
yes
BS.
Air Force. You trade.
Yes, Major General Fazlur Rahman was the Director General of
BGB, BDR,
Border during the time, BDR during the time, Major
Border
General Fazlur
Defense,
Rahman. He was a very stern military officer. I
Bangladesh
would not be
Rifles.
I would not be surprised if he would hold the position of the commander-in-chief of Bangladesh Army. He was a patriot, he was a freedom fighter. He did not spare Indian authority exile. His troops exactly, border security forces of that means the uh, BDR fired upon
Bangladesh Rifles.
BSF, and at least 14 BSF had been killed. But we don't exactly see the reckless killing. We believe in peace, security, and self-respect and self-security, tranquility. Would like to enjoy it. Bangladesh is a country having a liberal attitude. Bangladesh is a country believing in friendship with all countries of the world, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion and geographical location. So, once again, I should say the border tranquility should be maintained with a very compulsive mode by the Indian authority. Particularly, it's my request to the Indian government, Indian central government, exactly to notice this matter in a very perfect and concrete way.
We are under the boiling point now, right now. That's what I was asking this question. That what happens if there is the game goes other way around?
Yes,
One or two BSF soldiers fall down.
nothing
Not
will be
by
happen. Nothing will be happen.
That's the
But
thing.
Bangladesh,
People
nothing will be happen. But Bangladesh is a peace-loving country.
very peaceful.
I think that
Yes,
the
sir.
BJP, Bangladesh border for the BJB, yes, the border BGB, border guard of
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. You know,
Bangladesh.
they are highly responsible organization. I do not find any reckless attitude or any irresponsible rough behavior. The border force of India is showing. Border force of Bangladesh, sorry,
But
border force of Bangladesh is showing. The border force of Bangladesh is always in the line of following the path of peace, tranquility, and security.
True.
a lot of events that BSF soldier been just crossed the border and in Bangladesh territory came and opened a fire and killed people. That happened in the past, but never happened that BDR crossed the border and kill
Never,
anyone in overside at the other
never,
side in India. Never that
never.
happened.
And not only that, the BJB or the once upon a time BDR officers used to attend the flag meeting with sincerity, exactly to bring a very peaceful solution in the border conflict. One thing India should remember that India does not have any peaceful relation with any of our neighboring countries, like that Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and even with Bangladesh. I
There's
think that India should realize this very carefully that India does not have any peaceful relation or any normal relation or sorry, any normal diplomatic endeavors with the neighboring countries. I think that it does not carry any sort of good news at all for Indian government, for Indian people.
Farad bhai, what I got the information from the India the international news, and that the India doesn't have a good relationship with its neighbors like Nepal, like Bhutan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, now in Bangladesh. So, what do you think about the movement, the military movement of India toward that Seven Sisters? What do you think? What's going on in that region?
Yes, additional force are being deployed already along the border of the northeastern border of India because Indian Union government could understand that insurgency movement is going on. And you know that couple of months ago there was a conflict, ethnic conflicts taking place in Manipur
Wonderful.
between Kuki and Houthi, if I am not wrong. So it is an alarming signal to the Union territory of Union government of India. It is very important.
About
One thing I
500,
should say, I'd
about
like to take you back.
550 people got killed.
Yes, so many. And even then, unrest situation is going on. In video footage, I have watched the additional forces. Indian troops had been deployed in Manipur exactly to curb the situation or exactly to control the unrest situation. Let me tell you one thing, taking you back to the history, there is a two doctrines in India still been prevailing. You know that there is a sharp contrast between BJP and Congress, but there is a great similarity between BJP and Congress. What is this? India doctrines. Two doctrines. One is three doctrines in India, you know, that are prevailing. One is Nehru doctrine, another is Indira doctrine, and third one is the Gujral doctrine. The three persons were the prime ministers of India. And Nehru doctrine and Indira doctrine exactly do not feel any necessity of maintaining any sort of friendly gesture or relation with the neighboring countries. And these two doctrines exactly are strictly motivated by the hegemonial sentiment towards the
Well,
neighboring countries. And the Gujral doctrine was inclusive. That means not to show any hegemonial attitude, but to show the gesture, friendly gesture. I.K. Gujral was a migrating man from Lahore to Amritsar in 1947. He became the prime minister. He could feel the pangs and sufferings of the partition. And that is why exactly he left so many relatives, friends in Lahore when he was exactly living Lahore to Amritsar during the partition 1947. Partition of India in 1947. And that is why he had a man having strong compulsion exactly to make friendship with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, and etc. And that is why Gujral doctrine is very unique, but it is not followed by any Indian government like Modi or Congress. There is a particular similarity between BJP and Congress, particularly following the Nehru and Indira doctrines, not to exactly give any sort of friendly gesture or any sort of sincere cooperations with the neighboring countries. And that I would like to add it. I would like to add it. Girija Prasad Kairala, the former Prime Minister of Nepal, made an urge exactly to have the facility of Indian seaport to Jawaharlal Nehru, you know, and Jawaharlal Nehru, it was 1956, but Nehru was not exactly, Nehru was a stalwart politician. I've got a particular weakness for Nehru, even though Nehru, as a kind and generous man, could not exactly extend the hand of cooperation to
mm,
Nepal,
mm,
exactly to ensuring the seaport facilities.
that
Nepal.
sometimes the Indian
Yes,
government they
yes,
block that
very conservative
transportation.
sentiment, very conservative sentiment.
Yeah,
A
right.
country, Nepal, they're landlocked country. They don't have
Landlocked.
the facility exactly
We'll
enjoying.
go back.
Uh,
Uh,
they don't have the privilege and facility of seaport. Yes, and that
they
is why
use
Girija
Kolkata
Prasad
port.
Karan made an appeal to Nehru to offer the facility, seaport facility to Nepal, but Nehru could not exactly extend his helping hand regarding this matter. So Nepal, Kashmir, Bhutan, they are under a serious difficulty not to have any seaport. They have to exactly depend on Indian territory to enjoy the privilege of the seaports to
Being
execute their trading, international trading.
being a landlocked country, being a landlocked country, Nepal, isn't it? They cannot pass any constitution law without the Indian consent,
Yes,
right?
not only that, they don't have any independent foreign policy
All right.
without the special consent from New Delhi.
Right, right. So let's go back to Manipur. Last month, Manipur ex minister, he was in Washington D.C. and he had some meeting with American some politicians. And upcoming, we know that Donald Trump, he won the presidential election, and Republican Party is going to be in a governing body next 4 years for the next 4 years. So, do you think that the Donald Trump government is going to see Manipur differently than last Biden government?
Let me tell you one thing: that foreign policy is not in a position to change frequently. There is a particular rigidity we have found in American foreign policy, and you are exactly more aware about it since you have been exactly living for a pretty long time in the United States of America. I think that there will not be a particular qualitative change uh, if when Donald Trump exactly will take over the office of the president of the United States of America in 16 January. No particular change will be happening.
21st January.
No, it will be at 20. Yes,
21st January, 20th
25,
January,
sorry, 21st
20,
January.
20th,
So no effective
20th.
change will be happen. No effective change will be happen because of the change of the government in the United States of America.
Hmm.
No,
So,
it is
so
Indian concern how India would treat the Seven Sisters. It depends on the sentiment of the Indian Union government. I should say one thing. Even, even I should say one thing. Even Rahul Gandhi exactly made a statement in London, you know, narrating that India is not a country. India is a union territory.
Union, right, right.
According to the constitution,
That's
it
what
has
he
been
said.
clearly narrated and manifested that
Mm.
India is a union territory. And on consensus, Indian union territory exactly are in the line of showing their allegiance and exactly their compulsion to be united together
I have
to their state life.
I have a last question to you, Farhad Bhai.
Yeah.
Now, what we have heard from different social media, and that it is a plan to create a Christian state from Arakan, Mizoram, Manipur, and the other couple other states. As what we heard from last 2 months and 3 months, do you think it is possible to make that state a Christian state in that region? Because Bangladesh, Kuki chain, and the other some tribes, I would say tribes, their leaders, they are getting together and having a plan to make a different state.
It has been a buzzword that there will be Christian states, exactly, including some particular lands in the northeast of India and some parts from Myanmar, you know. But
Right.
technical problem is here. What is this? Even China will not approve this project at all. If there would be a Christian state there, okay, that will be a tangible threat to the Chinese to the Chinese
Right.
government,
That would be
China
from the
or China, because American influence would be created there,
yeah, but from
and that is
Myanmar,
why
from
it will not
Myanmar,
be.
Chin state, from Myanmar, Chin state and Arakan state is a part of it too, right?
No, and China, it will be an irritating issue not only for India. It will be a great irritating issue for China. China must not allow it. If it would be a Christian state, the American influence will be created there. That will not be a comfortable experience for China. So it will be a very difficult task exactly for any power to create such kind of state. It is
Mm,
not the serious concern for India. It is also a concern for China. So
mm.
geopolitical matter is very difficult. Exactly.
For, for
It
the both
cannot be
countries.
exactly. It cannot be exactly concluded in a very gross manner.
All right. For the both countries, India is not going to let it go, and also China is not going to do it, let it do it,
Definitely, definitely.
because the
China is a big
Kaladan
power.
project,
China is a big power, no doubt about it.
Kaladan project, they invested a lot of money in there for their
Yes,
pipeline.
yes. In Myanmar,
Yeah, right. So
yes,
how we let it go?
huge project has
All
been
right,
conducted by Chinese government there.
all right.
So China will not allow any Christian state, particularly including those regional territories. No, never.
I have one question to
So
Farad
it's a
Bhai.
phenomena. It's a phenomena. It's a phenomena going on, and let us see what might happen in the impending days.
So now we had we know that the India, they had also invested in a Kaladan project to take their goods to all out to Palatway through the Kaladan River.
Very interesting matter is that China and India has got the same influence over Myanmar.
Myanmar,
That is
right?
an interesting matter. And
That's
that
what.
is why the territory of Bangladesh is very, very important geopolitically,
Okay.
particularly in South Asia. Bangladesh is not a big country territorially, even it is smaller than Myanmar. But geographically, it has become a very important territory,
Mhm.
exactly to determine the position of the geopolitical matter in South Asia.
As a strategic location.
Yes, strategic location. Definitely. Sorry. Thank you. Because of the strategic location of this motherland, my motherland, for which I feel proud.
I think Iftikhar Bhai, he got some question to you.
Yeah, I have one
He's
simple
trying to
question that what we are talking about, and about this religious-based state. So Mizoram is Christian, basically. Manipur is also Christian. Okay. So in the media yesterday, I was reading that some part of Manipur will be given to Mizoram, and it will be Christian again. So what kind of they're already Christian. What new Christianity would be there? This is one interesting, many peculiar things people are
talking about.
saying. I don't understand. Another thing is that Tibet. You remember this? This China will never allow because they have to control the whole Tibet. And
Yes,
Tibet, they got the
exactly.
upper hand militarily. You will know Arunachal, the elevation. Arunachal on the top of the Tibet, they have this Chinese big J-20 heavy bombers placed over there. Hmm. And people say, I don't know, Parhan Bhai can tell me better than anybody. If they throw the howitzer
Projectiles.
guns, projectiles, it will fall on the Indian army. So this
Hmm.
upper hand China got. And at this age, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, when Napoleon was alive, he said one thing: let China sleep. Don't wake up this sleeping dragon. Then it will make the life of the whole world hell. You will not be able to sleep. True. See, everything is controlled by China now. Nothing we can go. We can't find anything, even any switch, anything. A1, A2, A3, all grade you have, but all made in China. That's good. That's good. Inshallah, we will also one
As
day.
a global trade, China captured the whole world.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, and they're also interested in us because, as you, Paran Bhai, you know that this big industry of microchip, Taiwan. So
TSM,
this are also
Taiwan TSMs, Taiwan
yes,
Semiconductor.
yes. And I don't know how far it is true. I do not know. We are hearing that Bangladesh can be also the second manufacturer.
Now,
They're
so
thinking.
far I know that Vietnam took that contract, and TSM, they are trying to put a new plant in
Mhm.
there, a semiconductor
Mhm.
plant in Vietnam.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And India is
Let
also.
me
Most
let me
welcome.
add. Farid Bhai, request you to add one single sentence.
Thank you,
The
Farad. Go ahead.
United States of America, where you are living, will not
Mhm.
get a very comfort zone in South Asia because of the existence of giant China. And thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Most
Farad Bhai.
welcome.
We are looking forward to see you again in the future, and we will talk about the Kashmir issue
Yes,
in
most
the near
important.
future on the next episode. Thank you very much, Iftikhar Bhai, for your
Most
presence
welcome.
and
Most
your
welcome.
opinion. Thank you, and we will see you again in the future. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Well,
salam.